I wish we could turn the camera on you and show your enthusiasm for the soundtrack. She's rocking out. That's one of my tunes. I wrote that.
Oh, I love it.
From my band Third Space. It was like our debut album from like 2008, my first self-produced album. And
Third Space is the band?
Third Space is the name of the band.
What is the Third Space?
The Third Space is, so it came from a Canadian literary work. It was this guy writing about African refugees in Toronto. And he was talking about how, you know, they left the place where they were from, which was very poor and desolate. And they came to Canada, to Toronto. I think it was Toronto, could be mistaken. And they were immersed in this completely different environment, completely foreign. And they could never be that, like, wholeheartedly, because it was just so far removed from what they came from. But they were probably never going back to where they came from. Or if they did, they would never look at it the same way. So that's what the Third Space is. It's that space you occupy when you're no longer that person you were. You're like the future version of yourself, which is another.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah. It was a point in my life where this is like pre-children and everything, pre-businesses, and I was just reading like constantly. You know, sometimes too. I was on the train all the time. I was commuting into the city every day, and I would burn through like 3 books a week, and it was all nonfiction. I was reading about the World Bank. I was just like whatever I could get my hands on. You know,
that's cool. It's good to have that passion, that curiosity.
Yeah, it really laid a lot of foundation. Foundation. We were talking about framework earlier, and jiu-jitsu being just like, especially jiu-jitsu.
Talk about
like
framing, right? Talk about framework.
So, elbow, knee, and particularly jiu-jitsu has just like such a great framework for your life. And I remember asking Professor Carroll about this recently, why jiu-jitsu has really captivated people in a way that, say, kickboxing hasn't, or other martial arts that are very popular. And he said, because of the commitment, like the commitment that it takes just to get through a class where like somebody you might not know at all or not know very well is on top of you. I mean, the smell is real, the sweat, you know, it can get super, super uncomfortable. And I remember after taking my first advanced class and experiencing randori for the first time, I hugged those guys so genuinely. I was just like, I can't believe we just did that. And like, I survived because they were big guys too. And all of them were experienced. And I was just like, I really get this now. And it's like the most sincere handshake or hug you can give somebody that you're not in a physical relationship with. It's like so sincere. And
well, I think people come together when you overcome challenges together.
Real way.
So every class is a challenge. And then you could see the spirit, like esprit de corps or whatever, how people come together and they have multiple challenges throughout the day. Even the juniors classes, you see how it's designed so that there's obstacles and solutions and it creates a bond. And it's nice. Even you don't have to be friends with anybody, but you have that, hey, I'm going to stand up for this person. I got your back. Because we've kind of gone to battle together in a way. My
brother sent me this really funny meme because he still trains, and it was a jiu-jitsu thing, and the guy was like, this is my buddy, we train together, we do all this stuff, and the other person's like, what's his name? He's like, I don't know. But they were like best friends because they train together. He's like, I don't even know his name, but this is like my brother. He would stand up for him. Yeah. So speaking of community working together, group work, tell us about your Tony Robbins experience. This was pivotal for me. She went, but it had a huge impact on me. It was crazy. I can't believe that. I'm like, really? So awesome. Tony Robbins? His outreach, talk about added value. Well, I was at a tipping point. I just turned 40 and I knew the course I was on was leading to destruction. And that's really personal, but it's true. And I didn't like the path I was on. I just said, you know what, at this rate, I'm not going to be anywhere near excellent at this pace. And actually, my husband showed me a little ad on the phone. I've been thinking about it. And he was just like, and it was one of those moments where I was like, yeah. And then I had to sit and digest it for a while. I had to ruminate over it and think about it, make the commitment. And I'd done landmark education. I did the forum and the education. It's very much, I've done a lot of work. I'm not familiar with that. What is landmark? It's actually right around here. It's on the 30th Street. So it's kind of like going to battle with yourself. You have to go in this forum where you pull up you take ownership of everything you've ever done in this earth.
and you call a bunch of people and you lay out your soul.
Really?
It's for real.
Whoa,
it's for
that's
real.
Crazy. That's what people in like AA do and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and you do it in a room with like 500 people, and I thought it was a game changer. So I had already done work like that, but doing it, you have to implement it. So I implemented some of the changes. One of the biggest one is just be true to your word, and that sounds so easy.
That's one of the hardest things in life to do. It doesn't sound easy.
Yeah, it does sound easy. Hey, just do what you're going to do.
Every day I'm reminded like how hard that is.
That's if you can do that consistently, you build up a lot of power.
Sure.
And if you don't,
like
you lose. So I'm every day working on that. But so anyway, Tony Robbins, it was a small group, it was 500 people, and I had to make a bit of an investment into it. It was a little bit pricey, but you know what? It was much like the forum in a party environment. It was like the Landmark Forum, but there was music and strobe lights and friends. And I didn't come with friends, but like you're immersed with people, and suddenly you have like
you get grouped up. And
you just turn around and look at the people next to you. They have you doing all kinds of things with strangers, like massaging their shoulders, and we're doing these think tanks. We're up at midnight, like coming up with plans. We became the marketing mavericks, like, and I still talk to these people. One of the women like created acro yoga, and another. I mean, there's just like a talent pool of people, and it was a great experience, and it helped me take myself seriously.
What were some of the things you got from it that really like you feel like this came directly from that and helped me like and at work, but also just in life?
Systems driven, very much about understanding your systems, creating tight systems, and the main thing, implementing them. You can have all the greatest ideas in the world, but if you don't put them into play, forget about it. It's not going to happen.
It's kind of like Jiu Jitsu, right?
Yeah, you can be studying the armbar, you can write it down a million times, but if you don't put it into play,
do it. Who cares?
Right. Yeah. That was a big one. Clarity is power. I mean, he's just so many sayings he has, but I think the breakthrough was knowing like your business starts and ends with how good you are. If you're not getting better, guess what? Your business is not getting better.
Yeah.
So you don't really want to be the egomaniac head of your business. You just need to be getting
not the
smarter.
Requirement. Yeah.
No, that is actually the inverse. That's about you.
That's the person that's not getting better.
No.
They're like, I'm getting better.
Yeah, know who you want to help and why you want to help them. If you can figure out what you're doing and why, everything comes together. I wasn't really sure what I was doing and why.
And that's like the whole know your why. Right.
Yeah. And he brought up this, he was the one who laid that out. And it was like, oh, okay, actually, the business I'm really in, what business are you really in? The business I'm really in is genuinely helping people. And this is just the vehicle. And that was like,
and that's been the constant reoccurring theme on here that I've gotten from so many people. It's that people are actually aware of that, and I wasn't aware of that. And what I was doing.
Well, they don't teach us this stuff in school, and
right, exactly.
I don't know why. So even our, my children. It's like, what are you doing and why? What do you want to do? Figure it out. Yeah. I mean, that's a big question. And before you go to Tony Robbins, you get this like dossier of things you have to fill out. And putting your goals on paper, having to sit there and like all you want to do is scratch or run around or vacuum the floor or a million excuses, walk the dog, and you have to sit there and like tap your pencil, which is what all the great people say. You have to schedule the free time. Warren Buffett, schedule the free time. He takes like 2 phone calls a day. The rest of the time he's reading.
Right.
And hey, you know what? You have to sit there and think, and that can be really hard. This is painful,
distracted society right now. We have very short attention
and where you don't want to look is where you suck, and that's where you really have to go.
So another great quote I hear often is the thing that what do you all say?
There's so many.
The thing that you need to work on the thing that you're avoiding the most is probably the thing you need to work on the most. Is something to that effect.
That is, I mean, that's the reality. We have we have our blind spots, right? We have things we want to avoid. We have things that we want to run from, and all the work is there.
Like having the conversation that you don't want to have.
Uncomfortable conversations that comes up all the time.
Oh my God, I don't want to have this conversation. But
right, I've taken that on the flip side. I used to dread the conversations, and now I'm like, you know what? This is exciting because how can you really steer people towards figuring it out? Without being like, I'm telling you, this is for you. No, you got to figure it out, but you got to ask the right questions so that they can do that. yeah, that was the experience. It was fun. It was great. It you know what, it made me take myself seriously. It was kind of the little external kick in the pants. I already got the black belt, and it was like a month after I got the black belt. And even my husband said to me, you know what, I can give you a black belt, but you have to give yourself a black belt. And it's time. It's time you do that.
Right.
And step up.
And you came back. I remember seeing you on the sidewalk, and you were just like so energized, and you were telling me about it. And I'd seen ads for Tony Robbins, and I was just like, who's this guy? You know,
it was the right timing.
And it just had such an impact on me. And then you sent me the Simon Sinek video. And then right after, in the feed of that was a Gary Vaynerchuk video, who I used to watch wine reviews from when I was just exclusively selling wine. But it had been over 10 years since I'd watched the dude. And I was like, oh, Gary Vaynerchuk, let me see what he's up to. And then like the dude's like crazy now, like he's got this major media company. And literally the reason I'm sitting in this seat right now is because on that video, he was like, you should start a podcast, invite on people that you like, admire, and connect things together and just talk. And that will help you in whatever it is you want to do.
There's a lot of talented people.
There's so many. And it's just like,
it's
such
endless.
a major epiphany that came through your experience. And it just like, again, it was like a spear going through my body. And it's just been the catalyst for so many things. So I'm super grateful to you and your husband and the school. Tell everybody. Thank you. We'll tell everybody where they can learn about Sun Dojo. Quickly, we just have a moment more. I want you to get
Sun Dojo's in Brooklyn. It's in Windsor Terrace, and we're right on Prospect Avenue, Windsor Terrace. You can find us on sundojo.com, and we're also on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
It's a game changer.
Don't be scared. Actually, you know what? It's okay to be scared, and that's fine. That's part of it. That's our confidence, is that we're scared. And
you know, Tim.
Well, no, I love Tim. Be scared and do it anyway. That's how we really gain the courage and the confidence on the other side. And that's, what we always say. Well, I don't say as much as Professor Carroll.
Final quote. Yeah. What's it going to be? Let's hear it.
Your future self will thank you.
Your future self will thank you. I can't think of a better way to end. I told you at the beginning, it was going to be a great way to start your weekend. Act on it. It will change your life. Not just physically. You'll feel better. You'll look better. It will change your mindset. It will protect you from doing harm to yourself and to the people around you. It's been huge for me. I literally wouldn't be sitting here without it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm so honored that you came on the show. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take it. Go do. Peace.